The type of partner that makes Capricorn feel safe. What does it actually take to make a Capricorn feel safe? Not comfortable, not impressed, not even loved, at least not in the way most people think about love. Safe. Because here's the thing about Capricorn that almost no one understands until they've been close to one for a long time. Safety is the foundation of everything for this sign. It comes before attraction. It comes before chemistry. It comes before compatibility charts and shared values and all the other things people point to when they try to explain why a relationship works. If Capricorn doesn't feel safe with you, genuinely, deeply, structurally safe, nothing else matters. The attraction fades. The connection closes. The wall goes back up, and you'll spend months wondering what you did wrong, when the truth is it was never about what you did. It was about what they couldn't yet feel. And the opposite is also true. When Capricorn finally finds the person who makes them feel safe, when that specific, rare, particular feeling arrives, something extraordinary happens. The armor comes down. The guard drops. The version of Capricorn that almost no one ever gets to see walks out of the fortress they've been living in and shows up fully in the relationship. And that version of Capricorn, that's one of the most loyal, most devoted, most quietly extraordinary partners you will ever have in your life. Today I'm going to tell you exactly what creates that safety. Not in general terms, specifically the behaviors, the qualities, the ways of showing up that make Capricorn's nervous system finally exhale and say, this is the one I can trust. Stay until the end, because the last thing I'm going to share is the thing most people get completely backwards when they're trying to love a Capricorn, and getting it right changes everything. Let's go. Before we talk about the type of partner that makes Capricorn feel safe, we need to understand why safety matters so much to this sign in the first place. Because it's not obvious. And without that context, everything else we talk about today will feel like a list of tips instead of what it actually is, a map to the interior of one of the most complex hearts in the zodiac. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. And Saturn, as we talk about often on this channel, is the planet of structure, consequence, time, and above all, reality. Saturn doesn't soften things. Saturn doesn't romanticize. Saturn says, here is the world as it actually is. Now figure out how to build something real inside of it. And people born under Saturn's influence absorb that energy into their bones from very early on. They grow up understanding, sometimes through direct experience, sometimes through observation, sometimes through a kind of instinctive reading of the world around them, that things can fall apart, that people are not always reliable. That love, as beautiful as it is, comes with no guarantees. That vulnerability has a cost. So they do what Saturn teaches them to do with everything that matters. They build a structure around it. They become careful, selective, deliberate in who they allow close. Not because they're cold. We've talked about this before on Capricorn Secrets, and I'll say it again. Not because they don't feel, but because they feel so much that the idea of feeling all of that and then losing it is genuinely terrifying. Capricorn in love is not casual, has never been casual, will never be casual. When they open, when they actually let someone pass the outer layer, past the composed and capable and has it all together exterior, they're handing that person something they have protected for years, sometimes for their entire adult life. And what they need to know before they hand it over is that the person receiving it understands the weight of what they're being given, that they won't be careless with it, that they won't use it as leverage or dismiss it or treat it like something ordinary. That is what safety means to Capricorn in love, not the absence of risk. They understand that love is always a risk. Saturn has made sure of that. But the presence of someone who takes the risk seriously, who shows up with the same gravity and intention that Capricorn brings to everything that matters. That's the beginning. Now let's talk about what that actually looks like in practice. If I had to name the single most important quality that makes Capricorn feel safe in a relationship, the one that everything else is built on, it would be this: consistency. Not grand gestures, not dramatic declarations of love, not the breathtaking first impression or the sweep them off their feet moment that works so well with other signs. Consistency, the quiet, steady, day after day, week after week, month after month evidence that you are who you said you were. That what you said on day 1 is still true on day 90. That the version of yourself you brought to the beginning of this relationship wasn't a performance. It was actually you, and it keeps showing up. Here's why this matters so much specifically to Capricorn, and not just to people in general. Capricorn is ruled by time. Saturn rules time. And one of the things that means at a deep psychological level is that Capricorn trusts time more than they trust words. They have seen too much or been through enough to believe what someone says about who they are. They believe what someone does. Repeatedly. Over time, a partner who calls when they say they'll call, who shows up when they say they'll show up, who remembers the thing Capricorn mentioned once, quietly, not even sure they were being heard, and references it weeks later, proving they were listening, who is predictable not in a boring way, but in the specific safety-creating way that means you always know where you stand with this person. There are no sudden reversals, no inexplicable disappearances, no hot and cold, here one day and distant the next. That predictability, that reliability, is to Capricorn what oxygen is to everyone else. They may not articulate it. They may not even be consciously aware that they're measuring it. But they are. Every single day, they are quietly, carefully tracking the data. Is this person consistent? Do their actions match their words? Is what they show me in public the same as what they show me in private? Do they treat me the same when things are easy as when things are hard? And here's the other side of that, the side that is equally important. The partner that makes Capricorn feel safe is also consistent about their own emotional state. They are not dramatically unpredictable. Not someone whose mood swings require constant monitoring and management. Not someone who is loving and generous one week and withdrawn and critical the next. Because Capricorn has already spent so much energy managing their own internal landscape, keeping everything organized and controlled inside, that they simply do not have the bandwidth to also manage someone else's volatility. A partner who brings chaos into the emotional space doesn't just exhaust Capricorn. They trigger the oldest, deepest alarm system Capricorn has, the one that says this is not safe. Close down. Get back behind the wall. Consistency, on the other hand, tells that alarm system something different, something it has been waiting to hear for a long time. It says, you can rest here. I'm not going to change. I'm not going to disappear. I'm not going anywhere. And for Capricorn, that message, delivered not in words but in repeated, accumulated, time-tested action, is the most romantic thing in the world. Hey, if this is resonating with you, if you're recognizing something in this that you've been trying to understand about yourself or someone you love, this is what Capricorn Secrets is here for. Every single video on this channel is built to go this deep, to give you the real picture of what makes this sign who they are, in love, in life, and all of it. Subscribe right now. Hit that button and join this community. Because what's coming in the rest of this video, and in every video after this, is exactly what you're here for. Subscribe to Capricorn Secrets. You're in the right place. Let's go deeper. Beyond consistency, which is the foundation, there are specific qualities, specific ways of being that speak directly to what Capricorn needs in a partner. I want to walk through the most important ones because each of them matters. The first is emotional steadiness. The partner that makes Capricorn feel safe is not someone who never has difficult emotions. That's not what emotional steadiness means. It means someone who has a relationship with their own emotions that doesn't require Capricorn to be their emotional regulator. They feel things deeply, and they have ways of processing those feelings that don't collapse the entire relationship every time something hard comes up. They can be sad without it becoming a crisis. They can be angry without it becoming a weapon. They can be scared or uncertain or hurt and still remain fundamentally present and functional. This matters to Capricorn more than almost anything because Capricorn is already doing so much internal management. The idea of a partner who adds to that load, whose emotional world is constantly spilling over and requiring cleanup, is exhausting in a way that makes Capricorn retreat almost involuntarily. But a partner who is emotionally steady, who can sit in the difficult feelings without drama, without catastrophizing, without pulling Capricorn into the chaos of it. That partner creates something Capricorn almost never gets to experience: the relief of not being the most regulated person in the room. The second quality is patience without resentment. This is a specific and important distinction. Lots of people are patient with Capricorn. At first, they accept the slow pace of opening. They don't push. They wait. But the waiting is often loaded. It comes with an internal clock, an invisible deadline. And when Capricorn doesn't open on the timeline the other person had in mind, the patience curdles into frustration, into subtle pressure, into the message, sometimes spoken, sometimes just felt, that their caution is a problem to be solved. The partner that truly makes Capricorn feel safe is patient without that agenda. They understand, genuinely understand, not just intellectually accept, that Capricorn's pace is not a reflection of their level of interest or commitment. It's a reflection of how seriously they take the whole thing. And they hold that space without making Capricorn feel like a burden for needing it. The third quality is intellectual depth. Capricorn is not impressed by surface. They're not swept away by charm, by flash, by the kind of social brilliance that dazzles a room but disappears under scrutiny. They're looking for someone with actual substance, someone who thinks, someone who has a genuine point of view, formed through real engagement with the world, and who can hold a conversation that goes somewhere. This isn't about education or credentials. It's about depth. The partner who asks the second question, not just the first, who challenges Capricorn's thinking in ways that feel like respect rather than attack, who has their own inner world, rich and real and worth exploring, that Capricorn gets to discover over time. For Capricorn, intellectual connection is not separate from romantic connection. It is part of it. The mind and the heart are not compartmentalized. And a partner who engages both, who makes them think as well as feel, creates a bond that goes far deeper than physical attraction alone. The fourth quality is honesty without brutality. Capricorn has a complicated relationship with honesty. On one hand, they value it more than almost anything. They would rather hear a difficult truth than a comfortable lie. They have exceptional radar for inauthenticity, and the moment they sense that someone is performing for them, saying what they think Capricorn wants to hear rather than what is actually true, the trust begins to erode. But there is a version of honesty that Capricorn cannot receive safely, and that is honesty deployed as a weapon. Criticism dressed as candor. Truth used to wound rather than to connect. The partner who makes Capricorn feel safe tells the truth, including the hard truths, with care, with the clear underlying message that the honesty is coming from a place of genuine investment in the relationship, not from a place of judgment or contempt. That even when the truth is difficult, the intention behind it is love. That combination, radical honesty wrapped in genuine warmth, is rare. And Capricorn knows it when they find it, and they hold on to it. This is the part of the video that I think will hit hardest, because this is the part about what Capricorn actually needs, not what they say they need, not what they present as their requirements, but the real, unspoken, often unacknowledged needs that live underneath the competence and the control. The first thing Capricorn needs, but will rarely ask for, is to be seen past their strength. Capricorn is so consistently the capable one, the one who handles it, the one who holds it together, the one who has a plan and executes the plan and never seems to need anything, that the people around them often stop looking for what's underneath. They take the strength at face value. They rely on it. They come to expect it. And Capricorn, who built that reputation deliberately and maintains it carefully, would never openly ask for someone to look past it. But they need it. Desperately, quietly, they need a partner who looks at all that capability and says, gently, without making it a production, I see you. Not just the part that has it together. The part that's tired. The part that's uncertain. The part that is doing all of this carrying and occasionally would like to put something down. The partner who offers that, who creates the specific, private space where Capricorn doesn't have to be strong, gives them something they can almost never give themselves. The second thing is to be loved without conditions attached. This sounds obvious. Everyone wants unconditional love. But for Capricorn, it carries a specific weight because their early experience, the Saturn wound we talk about on this channel, often taught them that love is earned, that it is contingent on performance, on usefulness, on being the right version of yourself at the right time. So they walk into relationships with an invisible checklist in their head, a set of standards they are constantly measuring themselves against. And they are waiting, always, somewhere underneath the surface. They are waiting for the moment when they fall short and the love is withdrawn. The partner who makes Capricorn feel safe is the one who finds a way to communicate over and over again in both words and action. I'm not going anywhere. Not because of what you provide, not because of how well you perform, because of who you are, because you, specifically, matter to me. That message needs to be delivered not once, but consistently. Because Capricorn's ability to receive, it is limited by the wound. They will hear it and then doubt it. Hear it again and believe it a little more. Hear it again and start, slowly, to let it land. This is not a flaw. This is Saturn asking for evidence. And the partner who is willing to keep providing that evidence, patiently, without keeping score, is the one who eventually gets through. The third thing is to be chosen publicly and quietly. Capricorn doesn't need grand declarations. They are not the sign that melts over elaborate romantic gestures or public professions of devotion. In fact, that kind of display can make them uncomfortable, too exposed, too uncontrolled, too much. What they need is something quieter. To be the person their partner naturally gravitates toward in a room full of people. To be spoken about with respect when they're not present. To have their partner's loyalty be visible not through performance, but through the thousand small, consistent moments of choosing them. The hand reached for across the table. The way their partner speaks about them to other people. The instinct to include them, to consult them, to come back to them. The kind of choosing that doesn't need an audience because it's not for anyone else. It's just true. That is what Capricorn feels. That is what makes the difference, finally, between a relationship that feels good and a relationship that feels safe. Okay, if this video is doing something to you right now, if it's giving you language for something you felt but couldn't quite name, give this video a like right now. One tap. It genuinely helps Capricorn Secrets reach more people who need exactly this kind of content. And if you're watching this and you're not subscribed yet, subscribe. Right now, join the Capricorn Secrets community. This is what we build here. Real, deep, honest content about the most misunderstood sign in the zodiac. Like the video, subscribe to Capricorn Secrets. And let's finish this. I want to tell you what happens when Capricorn finally finds this person. When all of the qualities we've been talking about, the consistency, the steadiness, the patience, the honesty, the seeing, are present in one relationship. Because the transformation is real, and it is extraordinary to witness. It starts slowly, almost imperceptibly. There is a moment. It's not a single dramatic moment. It's more like a gradual shift in the light, where Capricorn stops bracing, where the shoulders that have been held slightly tense, slightly ready for impact, start to drop, where they realize, somewhere below conscious thought, that no impact is coming, that this person is not a threat, that this relationship is not something that needs to be managed and monitored and guarded against, that it is safe. And in the space that opens when the guarding stops, something comes forward that most people who only know Capricorn's surface self have never seen. A playfulness, a genuine, unexpected lightness. Capricorn has an extraordinary sense of humor, dry, precise, perfectly timed, that only emerges when they feel completely secure. The wit that was locked behind the professionalism starts to come out in private, and then a little more in public, and then it becomes one of the things their partner loves most about them. An openness. The questions they've been turning over alone in their minds for years, about who they are, what they want, what they're afraid of, start to become conversations instead of internal monologues. They find, to their own surprise, that saying the thing out loud doesn't destroy it. That being known doesn't mean being diminished. That their partner can hold the full weight of who they are and not only remain, but move closer. A tenderness. Capricorn is capable of a depth of tenderness that is completely invisible to people who have only seen them in their armored state. The care they have been storing, all the love they've been protecting, starts to find expression in small acts, in quiet moments, in the specific, thoughtful, I was paying attention ways that only Capricorn expresses love, and a vulnerability that is honestly one of the most courageous things you will ever see. Because for Capricorn to be vulnerable, to genuinely let down the guard, to say I need you, to ask for comfort, to admit to fear or uncertainty or longing, is an act of extraordinary bravery. It goes against everything their nervous system was trained to do. And when they do it, when they reach across whatever distance remains and allow themselves to actually be held, that is the whole thing. That is the full Capricorn. That is what all of it was protecting. The partner who receives that moment with the care it deserves, who doesn't make it smaller, who doesn't flinch, who simply stays, is the partner Capricorn will love for the rest of their life. Not because Capricorn is loyal out of habit or obligation, but because they understand in the deepest and most Saturn way what it cost to get here, what it took to trust this much, what it means to have found the one person in whose presence the fortress finally, completely became unnecessary. They will not take that lightly. They will not forget it. They will build something with that person that is as solid and enduring as anything Saturn has ever created, which is to say, something that lasts. I want to close this video by speaking directly to you, the person watching this who loves a Capricorn, or who wants to, or who is in the middle of figuring out if they can be the kind of partner this sign needs. Because everything we've talked about today sounds beautiful in description, but in practice, loving a Capricorn is genuinely challenging. And you deserve honesty about that alongside everything else. It will require patience at a level that tests you. There will be moments of silence that feel like rejection, moments of distance that feel like indifference, moments where you offer something open and generous, and what comes back is carefully measured and controlled. And you will have to know, without external confirmation, that what came back was actually the maximum of what they could give in that moment, and that the maximum will grow. If you stay, if you're consistent, if you keep being safe, it will require you to love someone who expresses love differently than you might need it expressed. Capricorn's love language is often acts of service, presence, and quiet loyalty, not words of affirmation, not spontaneous effusiveness, not the kind of constant verbal reassurance that makes some people feel secure. You will have to learn to read their love in different forms. In the fact that they showed up, in the fact that they remembered, in the fact that they chose you again today, quietly, without announcement. It will require you to have your own life, your own groundedness, your own sense of self that doesn't depend entirely on what Capricorn gives you in any given moment. Because there will be moments where they're inside themselves, processing, managing, working something through, and they will not be fully available to you. And the partner who needs constant availability, constant reassurance, constant external confirmation of the relationship's health, that partner will struggle enormously with Capricorn's rhythms. But here is what I also want you to know. The Capricorn who has found their safe person, who has done the work, who has found the partner who meets them where they are, shows up in a way that almost no other sign can match. They remember everything. Every detail you gave them, every preference you mentioned, every fear you confided. It all goes somewhere inside them, and it stays there. And it comes back to you in the most unexpected, perfectly timed ways. They are constant. The loyalty of a Capricorn who has truly chosen you is not a feeling that fluctuates with mood or circumstance. It is a decision they made and continue to make every day with the same deliberate commitment they bring to everything that matters to them. They build with you, not just materially, though they will do that too, but in every sense. They think about the future with you in it. They plan with you in mind. They invest in the relationship the way they invest in the things they believe in most. Seriously, strategically for the long term. And they will love you when they finally fully love you in a way that feels less like a feeling and more like a fact. Stable, permanent, something you can build on. That is what is on the other side of the patience. That is what is waiting inside the fortress, if you give it time and safety enough to open. It is worth it. For the right person, it is absolutely worth it. That's it for today. If this video gave you something, clarity, recognition, language for something you've been living with, share it. Send it to someone who loves a Capricorn and needs to understand them better. Or send it to the Capricorn in your life so they know they've been seen. Subscribe to Capricorn Secrets if you're not already here. Every video on this channel is built to go exactly this deep into the real experience of this sign in love and in life. Leave me a comment. Tell me, are you the Capricorn in this story, or are you the partner? What part of this video landed for you today? I read every comment, every single one. See you in the next video. Take care of yourself and the people you love enough to try to understand.